Hey gang, Tony here. I have a yard sale video for you guys today. It's a pretty decent one. This is definitely the best weekend I've had yard sailing in probably a month or a little over a month, something like that. So I got a bunch of stuff to show you. I actually went out on Saturday and Sunday. Today is Sunday. And I got a few things each day. It roughly shakes out to Halloween stuff and video game stuff. Oh, just for reference, everything I bought this weekend was $1 or less per item. I didn't pay more than $1 for any item. I think in total I probably spent about $6 or $7 all weekend, which is pretty good. I got an Atari game, Adventures of Tron. Not entirely sure why I bought it, because I don't have an Atari. But it was pretty cheap, and I like Tron, so I picked it up for the hell of it. I got a copy of the Nintendo DS Battles Prince of Persia complete in the box. Again, I don't have a Nintendo DS, I don't think. I'm almost positive I sold the one I had, so not sure why. I might take a bunch of this video game stuff and just trade it into Pete and see if he'll give me a couple bucks in trade-in or something. I got a GameCube controller extension cable still in the package. That's not an official Nintendo product. This is like a third-party extension cable. Again, it was super cheap, and I kind of figured maybe I could bundle up a few things and bring over to Pete's to see if he wants to do a little trade-in kind of deal. And I also got a Nintendo cable. This I'm gonna keep. These are, whenever I see them, I buy them. Whenever I see them cheap, I buy them because they are proprietary, and you need this for the GameCube, for the Nintendo 64. I think just those two consoles, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the Super Nintendo? I can't remember. I don't think so though. But anyway. I just pick them up because they're good to have in case I get a console later down the road that doesn't have one of these, or if I have a console that doesn't have one of these. So that was one of those just random things I like to get. This was a little Halloween book. It's Jack Prelutsky, It's Halloween. I think I paid like $1 for that, and it was just one of those things like, just had to buy it. Look at it. I have a lot of little Halloween books like this from when I was a kid. I don't remember this one from when I was a kid, but it's just the feel of this thing is so cool. Had to get it. It's from originally 1977 copyright. I'm not sure if this book is from 1977. It's Halloween, the moon is full and bright, and we shall see what can't be seen on any other night. I think there are mostly poems and things in here. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. The goblin. Some pumpkins and things. Had to get it. Alright, next up. This was another one of those interesting buys. It is the Bones and Book Skeleton. So it's got a book in there, and then it's got a put-together 24-piece skeleton, and it's an anatomically correct sort of thing. And the reason I bought it was because I am not super great with anatomy for my sculpting. I mostly make creatures and things, so human anatomy isn't something I mess around with too often. So you can see there, it's still sealed, so I knew all the pieces were in there. And it's got this informational book that seems to actually be pretty in-depth about anatomy and bone basics and things. It's got, how to put the skeleton together in there as well. So I was sort of thinking, I guess this is what it looks like when it's all put together there. But my plan actually was to put it together and use it as a model for any possible human anatomy sculptures that I might do in the future, or just for drawing or whatever. It's a nice reference, you know. So that guy was in. That was an interesting little score. I thought it was kind of cool. I'm gonna save the best stuff for last, as always. But I'm getting actually pretty close to the end. Only a few more items. Today, I got this today. I was pretty psyched about it. It's one of those Nintendo, official Nintendo carry cases. You put the games in there. It is missing the bottom part of the clip that you would kind of put that into to close it. But other than that, it's in pretty decent condition, especially compared to others I've seen in the past. It still has the insert in there, albeit a little crushed in spots for to put the games in. Whoops, I don't know if you could see that in there. It's still held together for the most part. It's got a couple of tears and stuff. Whatchamacallit, the handle is still on there. But I mean, for $1, that was a pretty cool find, I thought. I've seen a couple of these at the flea market previously, and they're all in much worse condition than this one, and they always want like $10 for them, which just blows my mind. I mean, I guess that's how much they go for on eBay and shit, like $10, $15, $20, something like that. But I mean, for me, it's like kind of a novelty. It's something nice to put the games in. So I was happy to get that one. They had some other little Game Boy packs and things, but I passed on most of that stuff, even though it was also all just $1. I'm trying not to spend unnecessary money. I'm trying to get just stuff that I can either sell, trade, give away, or that I know I'm going to use and keep. So next is today at the flea market, besides the Nintendo case, the first couple things I found early on, like almost as soon as I got there, this guy was unpacking a bunch of Halloween stuff. And although there were more than what I got, more things than what I got that I could have picked up, I stuck with these things. So the first is that, which I really like. Do I still have those other signs out? I don't know if you guys remember. I might have put them away. I don't know if for those long-time viewers, you might remember I got something similar to this. It's like, this is plastic. I had, they were longer, and there was like a Frankenstein one, and I think a black cat one. So this reminded me a lot of that. It's originally from Kmart, 99 cents. I don't know when this was sold, but it feels like it has to be from at least the 90s. So, you know, not super old, but just, I love the colors and visual. I just couldn't pass it up for a buck. And this is broken, the stake, but I'm not really too worried about that, as this is the main thing for me. And otherwise, I'm probably just going to put it out somewhere to look at. So I really love that. That was one of my favorite pieces from the weekend. My next favorite piece from the weekend was from the same seller. It is a Gemmy, so the animatronic company, Gemmy, light up. This is like that foam kind of feeling one. They're not the plastic, not like these guys, but a little more foamy. I have something like this somewhere. That's the old little stack of pumpkins. I really like this. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite pieces. Again, $1. The plug is there. You can see underneath it says Gemmy Industries. I haven't tested to see if the bulb is still working. There is a bulb in there. I don't know if it's burnt out or not. Looks like, I mean, I guess I could test it now. Very exciting. Hey, it works. Ooh, I like it. That's a really cool one. It's a lot different than many other pumpkins that light up pumpkins and stuff that I have. So I was excited about this guy. That brings us to the last item, which is actually the best score of the weekend. So those were a couple of my favorite things. But this last item is the best score, not only because it's one of my favorite things, but also because of the value there. So the money I spent versus what it's worth. there was a little baggie for $1 filled with, you know, little Halloween things, and it was buried under a bunch of other kind of modern Halloween things, and I looked in the bag and I saw something that made me very excited. So I paid the $1 for the little baggie. I'll show you everything that's in there, starting with the crappy stuff. There was this plastic thing. Probably had candy in it at one time. Nothing special. Had a little kind of rubber ducky sort of, you know, rubber ghost on a pumpkin, which is cool. I mean, I could dig that. I definitely like that more than I do that other plastic things. That guy was probably worth $0.25. There were a couple of these little Halloween lights in there that, you know, you put in the pumpkins or you could just put out. They actually still work. One of them still has the tab that you have to pull out to activate it, so I didn't even do that, but the other one I turned on and has the lights working and whatnot. So it's kind of cool. Again, like little cord, definitely worth a couple quarters there or whatever. But the thing that I was super excited about, I couldn't believe was in a baggie all underneath all this other stuff, was this guy. Oh my god, I love him. Yes. Now, I don't know if you guys know what this is or not. I mean, I'm super excited. Everyone else is probably like, okay, plastic ghost. I actually don't even know when these were made. I want to say like the 60s, 70s. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not entirely sure. But they're from Rosen, and they used to be filled with these little candies. They're all like balls of candy, or colored balls that were in there. And they made a few different ones. There's this ghost, and then there are ones with pumpkin heads. And they're actually quite collectible. This could go for upwards of $40 for that. Made in Hong Kong, it says on the back of the head. So the head pulls out, you know. I don't want to pull it out right now, but you can pull the head out and fill it up with candy. It's a little dirty in there because there was candy in there. But God, I just love it. It's like on par with the other ghost I got. I can't really vocalize how excited little plastic things for Halloween excite me so much. These things, oh god. So this is my favorite item of the weekend, closely followed by these two guys right there, and the Nintendo case. Everything else was just kind of like whatever, you know, little scores that I could deal with. All right, guys, that is everything. Oh, you know, there was one other thing very quickly I'll tell you about. At the flea market, there was this guy who had these like quarter scale horror models that were fully painted. Freddy, Pinhead, Michael Myers, Jason. There's one that looked like a weird combination of Jason and Freddy. I'm not really sure. And there was actually the one thing was signed by Doug Bradley, but there was no way to verify that, you know. And I don't just buy willy-nilly things that are autographed because there's no way to verify it. Anyone could have done that. They're very cool, but the problem was, number one, how much he was asking. For the Doug Bradley one, he wanted $30, and then I guess the other ones, I didn't ask, but I'm assuming a little less, maybe 20 each or something like that. And while they are fairly sought after on, like, if you go on eBay and you look for these particular things, some of them sell for like $100, others sell for, you know, 20, 30, whatever. The problem was that they're like plaster or something. I guess they were plaster models that, you know, people would buy and then paint themselves. Every single one of them had something broken off of it. So Freddy's glove had 2 of the blades broken off. Michael Myers' knife was broken off and gone. Pinhead's lament configuration cube was broken off and separate. It should have been like on the thing. And it was just, you know, in every case there was something broken. And that's the kind of thing, you know, that I don't really want it broken. I don't know if people would still spend $100 on it, but I do know that after I passed on it, I came back around a little later as I was going by. I noticed that they were all gone, so someone did buy them all. I'm very curious as to what they paid for it. If the guy was asking $30 for all of them, I imagine it had to be anywhere between $80 and $100 for everything, which is, I mean, I wouldn't have paid for that with the broken pieces, but I don't know. So that was just one of those things that I noticed that would have been amazing had they been in better condition. I just don't like to buy broken stuff. There's no point to me, because, you know, I'd want to keep it and display it. Alright, everybody, I blathered enough, and I'm half asleep because I got up at like 5 a.m. to go to the flea market. So I'm going to go. I will see you guys soon. Breathe deep in the night. Bye.